London stream with myself. If any of you guys haven't seen me before, my name is Aaron Trades. I've been trading for about 7 years. Streaming on my own channel for about 3 years, and now streaming on the TopStep channel. So appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in. I'm just gonna get everything set up here. Sorry guys, 2 seconds. Could see some familiar faces in the chat. Could see some new faces as well. Thank you all for stopping by. I'll give you guys an insight into my strategy. How I kind of, approach the markets. And the reason I'm here streaming with you guys the London session is because the London and Asian session is pretty much all that I trade. So hopefully we can share some good insights with you guys. Hopefully get some good trades to get on stream. I'll be taking some trades with you guys. There won't be signals. Nothing I'm going to give you guys here is ever financial advice. I'm purely just giving my opinion and my outlook on the markets. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot them over. Once we get set up, we will start running through them. I do predominantly trade gold. Gold is pretty much what I trade, I would say, 90% of the time. Just given the fact that I just find that gold moves so well in my session. And it gives me good setups pretty much every day. Now, does that mean I execute every single day? Unfortunately not. We're humans at the end of the day, but it's nice to know that it does move very well in the sessions that we do trade. So I know a lot of you guys are maybe used to trading more, Nasdaq and S&P. I'm a little bit different, but you guys will start to see that as well. I'll be able to just getting up Discord here as well, guys. I'll be able to run through your questions in a second. Appreciate the patience. I'm actually located in Australia. I'm in Australia, so it's coming back to about 4:20 p.m. here for me. 4:20 in the afternoon, which is coming up to 7:20 London time. I do London doesn't officially open till 8 a.m. 8 a.m. London time is the official open, but for the way that I trade gold, I do actually get some good positions pre-London as well. That's why it's good to jump on with you guys before the London Open. And then as I head off, you guys will stay on for the session as well. But yeah, we'll be doing these, for the foreseeable moving forward. I'll be trading on my TopStep accounts here with you guys today as well. Obviously, the markets, as I'm sure people have seen, have been somewhat wild to say the least. We have had some very uncertain market times. It looks different today. A new face. Let me just find up this video, guys. Sorry, 2 seconds. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. If you guys want to feel free to shoot over any questions, we'll get through them as we go on with the session. Howdy from Darwin. Howdy. Happy to see a gold trade here for the session. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's good to trade something different. I do focus just on gold. But I know some of you guys do trade Nasdaq, so maybe you can use a little bit of my gold system for the European markets and then Nasdaq towards the US session. The reason I personally prefer to trade gold over Nasdaq is it just moves well in all of my sessions. And for my TopStep accounts here, which you guys can see, I've had these accounts since let's go back to February. I believe we got these accounts, and I've been trading. I pretty much just trade one contract on gold. One contract, which is very different to one contract on Nasdaq. One contract on gold is $10 per tick move, and I could trade bigger size and full margin. But what I'm going to be showing here with you guys over the next foreseeable is trading consistently. I don't full margin all of my trades. I'm very conservative with my setups, and I don't trade every single day. But when I stick my plan, I stick my setups, we get this beautiful growth. And this was the same as what I had on the combines as well. Is I take my time with them. I'm not trying to pass in 2 days or pass in 3 days by pure luck. I want to trade consistently, and that's what you guys are going to see here over the next foreseeable. I'm going to be trading live with you guys as I normally do. Like I say, it won't be buy now, sell now. But what I'm going to be doing is just showing you guys what I'm actually doing, how I'm going to be approaching the markets. So we will look at other markets as well. Any other instruments you guys do want to see, feel free to send it. We'll have a look as well. I personally will only be executing on gold. Everything you guys just saw here is just from trading gold. Nothing else. Just from trading gold and just trading in the London and Asian session, which, can be seen as a quote-unquote quieter session. But if you guys measure on gold, if you look at the bounce off this support into these highs, I mean, this is an exceptional day, but if you just measure, let's say from here to here, that's a 197 tick move. You catch that one contract, that's $1,900. It's a very, very big move. Yeah, Nasdaq and ES are limit down, guys, so be careful trading your funded accounts on them as well. Gold is different, and that's what we're mainly going to be looking at here. So yeah, be careful of that, because the markets are irrational today, absolutely irrational, which is fine. That's trading. As long as you guys can stay patient, accept that that's part of trading. That's the reason I'm trading. I'm on the micros chart today. I don't usually trade micros. However, in the London session, I'm used to trading, say, 50 to 100 tick ranges, which one contract, that's great. However, when the range is like 500 ticks, if I don't accept that risk and change my size, I'm going to be over leveraging, right? So if you're used to trading a 100 tick range, but the market's moving in a 1,000 tick range, and you trade the same contract size that you would normally in normal times, you're going to be over leveraging. No, so gold has actually been, let's have a look here as well. Reach out. Gold has been actually peaking all-time highs as everything else has been selling off. Gold has been the absolute safe haven, which to start this year, gold has been absolutely phenomenal. We started the year on gold, let's just say from down here, and we peaked at highs of 20% now. For you Nasdaq traders, that might not seem a lot. For gold, 20% from January to April is absolutely huge. So there's been some phenomenal moves to start the year on gold. And, you know, when it was peaking all-time highs, if anyone who's followed over on my channel, it was very, very difficult to trade during that time because you don't really know what's going to happen up here. You don't really want to be buying as you're peaking all-time highs, and you also don't want to be the first one trying to sell all-time highs. So seeing gold now starting to have a sell-off is actually really nice because now it's actually tradable. Now you actually have price action to the left that you can base trades off. However, you know, when you're up here, you know, you don't want to be buying because you don't want to call the tops, and you also don't want to be selling the tops either. So you have to stay very, very patient at these times. So gold has had some very, very big drops off the back of NFP on Friday, and today in Asia we have had again some very, very big whipsaw moves, which is, you know, for the Asian session, a price movement almost 1,000 ticks is absolutely huge, absolutely huge. Yep, look at ES and the Dow as well, absolutely. So the gold today is only because the percent moves on gold aren't as much. Which, where are we? If we measure from here to here, gold's only down about 3% today. Which, don't get me wrong, that's still a lot, but it's not as big as all other markets are down right now. Yeah, don't. If you guys are trading Nasdaq or ES and it is limit down, don't trade them on your fund accounts. I believe you can still trade it on combines, but don't trade it on your funded accounts. Plus, you know, I don't think, even if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't advise you guys to trade fund accounts during these times because these are not normal. These aren't the conditions that got you funded in the first place. So, you know, you don't want to ruin your progress by trying to trade such volatile markets. You know, it can look all well and good. You know, you can see, wow, I could catch a couple of hundred ticks there, whereas normally I might just get 20. But you kind of have to look at that from both sides. That could also go against you as well. But to answer your question of what are my trading strategies? I trade, which you guys will see because I'll execute positions. Let me just get rid of this. I trade very simple price action. I use pure price action and liquidity, and that is pretty much it. I don't use any, you know, crazy indicators or anything like that. I like to study pure price action. And kind of what I say to them is if you can get good at reading a naked chart on gold, you'll do very, very well. I will, you know, use confluences to demonstrate it with you guys as well. For instance, today, the levels that I am looking here on gold is for price to potentially come up and retrace into these highs here as well. Kind of what I'm looking at is just sort of forming this inverse head and shoulders. You have come up and hit some pretty big resistance here today already. You had this big move down in Asia, which as soon as I jumped on this morning, I saw, you know, Asia have this little gap down, massive spike into some major lows, back down to 3,000. I was like, okay, cool, that's probably going to be Asia. So I kind of didn't trade Asia today, which I normally do trade. I let price find its feet. And we kind of had this big, nice bounce higher, formed some big resistance here, and now we're starting to have a little bit of a sell-off. But coming into today's session, if we just have a look at the, because I do all of, not all, but a lot of my execution, which you guys will see, is mainly based off the 5-minute. However, I execute on the 5-minute based on my higher time frame already painting the picture. And if I don't have that picture painted on the higher time frame, if I open my charts and go straight to the 5-minute, you know, I'll just get chopped up all day long. So as soon as I get that direction painted on my higher time frame, fantastic. That's when I'll look to drop down. So it's coming up to about 7:29 here London time. So we're about to get this 30-minute close. Which, if we just have a look at what we're kind of seeing, is we do have my nice liquidity level for the day is up here, which on the gold futures is around 38.2. Around 38.2, looking for price to retrace. You kind of see, to be fair, you have already, you know, had this really big push down here on NFP on Friday. You've already had this pretty decent retracement, which was a very nice bounce off a massive daily level of previous resistance, which you never quite came back down to retest. You guys can see here, you had this resistance from back in February. Major highs. Aggressively broke above it here on the 13th of March, and you never quite came back down to retest this level. So for me, this pullback on gold is healthy. I think this is nice. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, are we going to break the support and keep dropping lower and come test some big levels, or, you know, are we going to bounce from here and continue pushing higher? What I do like is, same again as I just showed you guys with the inverse head and shoulders, is what we kind of saw forming here. Kind of got left shoulder, head, potentially price come up for that right shoulder, which any guys who do trade gold, that's a pattern that's worked a lot.
Order filled.
So we can see we're already bouncing off major support. If we were to look at a next big area of gold where price could come up and hold, it would be here. You broke below this, held this, and pushed lower. So if we now drop down to our lower time frame here, I like to keep my charts super clean. You guys will see my charts very clean. I like to be able to just digest pure price action. So you can see here the 4-hour on gold futures came down, liquidated a lot of these lows, never broke through this support, and had a very big rejection. And you can also see, and this is the thing, I'm extremely neutral in the way that I trade as well, which you guys will see. I don't ever come onto the charts and go, gold has to go up today, or gold's going to go down today. I'm extremely neutral. If gold starts breaking below some levels, I'll look to go short. If gold starts breaking above some highs, you know, and I have reason to go long, fantastic, I'll take some longs. What I won't do is be glued to a certain bias. And I'm, you know, this is something that comes with time in trading. Like I say to you guys, anyone who's new, I've been trading for about 7 years, is the less that I try and predict, the better I'm going to be as a trader. I don't come onto charts, you know, with any egos or any bias. I let the charts tell me what they want to do, and I simply follow it. I try to get my piece out of the pie, and that's pretty much it. So as I was just saying, you know, gold has held some massive support here. So could we go higher? Potentially. But what have we also done? This is what I'm saying. We have to be very neutral. We can't look at this support and go, gold must go up, without seeing that this is a very nice level of resistance where gold could also go down. So without even needing to drop down, we're in a bit of a 4-hour range. You know, you came down, you've liquidated 2 equal lows, you failed to close above the resistance, which is so key. You know, if you see this candle happening, you're like, oh, cool, you're massively grabbing these lows. You're looking like price is going to continue pushing up. But as soon as price fails to close above the resistance, then I'm like, okay, cool, well, longs don't really look like they're on the cards just yet on a higher time frame perspective. So this is when I kind of start dropping down to my lower time frames and painting a little bit more of a picture. So what I can kind of see is this inverse head and shoulders for me. So if we can start holding some support from this region, which we have just got this 30-minute close, there's the possibility of me looking to take this higher. If I would like to go short on gold, well, then I'll simply wait for price to actually close below the support, and then I could look to retarget these levels. What I won't do is just start selling gold now because I want price to go down. Price to me is at a big level of support. If I want to sell this, price has to close below, and then we can follow it. Very, very simple price action. Even if you guys see here, this was actually a nice setup pre-London at around 6:30 London time. You came up, you look at highs, closed bearish, you broke below the support. That to me there was a very nice sell. You got about 150 ticks there. Very, very, very nice sell, which are one contract's about $1,500. These are very, very, very big moves. So if I'd like to go short on gold, I would like to see price break probably below here with volume, and then cool, I'll follow on the way down. If I want to go long on gold, which I would say is my preferred direction, not my only direction, but my preferred direction, I'd like to see price close, let me just make this a little bit thinner. I'd like to see price close back above here, which is about 3043.6, because we broke above it, held it, pushed higher, broke above, held it for a few times. So in terms of staying neutral, if we can get back above this level, I think we actually could have a really nice buy. Could actually be a really, really nice opportunity. So as of right now on gold, given that it is certainly not normal times, my bias is extremely neutral. These markets, let me just turn the music down for you guys. If the background music's annoying for you guys, it's just some copy-free music. Feel free to let me know. I can turn it off. It's just, if it's better for you guys to have something to do rather than me rambling, turn it down just a little bit. Yeah, this, you know, and this comes with all markets. These aren't the times to be the hero on any market you guys are trading. We'll have a look at some of the Nasdaq and ES as well, where we can have a look at crude oil. These are the times to be extremely conservative and protect your capital at all costs, because that is the absolute key. You guys don't want to ruin, you know, March was a fantastic month. You don't want to ruin a good month by feeling like you have to take a trade every single day. Who is this man? This man is Aaron, also known as Aaron Trades. Do we still anticipate Euro Pound to buy into London Open? We can have a look at the Euro. Open positions right now. I have no open positions right now. I haven't taken any trades so far today. I was looking to short gold in Asia. I was looking to short this in Asia. However, when I opened the charts, this has already pushed down this much. So, you know, when I jump on the markets and I see gold has already ripped down 600 ticks, which is completely unnormal for gold in the Asian session, I'm like, that's fine. I accept it. I walk away. So, decided just to go to the beach with my dog and my girlfriend and just enjoy some time off the charts. And that's what, you know, a lot of professional trading does take. It takes knowing when to actually walk away. But this is looking quite nice. You know, if this 30 can close back above this level, we could have nice fake out buys to continue pushing up. This is the 30-minute time frame, and this is halfway through the hourly. So if we close bullish here on the 30-minute, we go back to the hourly, we're going to see a nice wick rejection, and then we're going to look and we go, oh, cool, price is holding this support. I can look to go long. So this is how you want to use your multi-time frame analysis, rather than, you know, seeing this 30-minute close bearish and go, oh wow, let me go short. I'm going to go short. You've had a 30-minute bearish close. You have to understand higher time frame paints the picture. You're at a nice level of hourly support. So I personally like fake out buys back above the resistance at 34.4-ish. I think that's a nice level. Yeah, mark open was, yeah, 500 tick open. It was absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Which, you know, I do see a lot of people getting all, you know, excited about these massive moves and, you know, how people have made this much money in their combine, etc. Which is, you know, it's all well and good, but you don't just want to get lucky in these markets, because if you get lucky in these markets, once you get to the thunder stage, if you're not doing it consistently, you know, you're going to struggle. So focus on what works consistently, not what works today. I always say to everyone on my stream, and you guys who are coming over from my channel, is, you know, you're not paid as a trader on how you perform today. You're paid as a trader on how you perform over the next month, over the next quarter. Today isn't going to determine whether or not you're a good trader. So you just have to be a little bit more patient in these markets, and, you know, when the time's right, you can execute. And you know, even last week, I had a very, very quiet week last week. I only took 2 trades. They were actually very, very small trades. I only ended up the week 271 across 4 accounts. You know, it's not too bad. But all we're really trying to do here is just take our small piece of the pie. And I'm currently sitting around, you guys can see, I'm currently sitting around a 53-ish% win rate with about a 1-to-1 risk reward. One thing, and this is the reason that this is slightly lower, because this win rate, with if it was just following this, it wouldn't be up this much. However, I keep my losses very small. In the sense that, you know, which you guys will see, I'll be executing plenty of positions here with you guys over the next, however long we stream for the next few months, etc. Is, you know, I don't mind being wrong. I'm okay with being wrong. Let's say, for example, if, you know, I short gold here, and I shorted off the fact that price broke back below this level, and let's just say, you know, I took sells here. I took sells here because price broke below this resistance and I wanted price to continue pushing down into support, and, you know, my hard stop was up at these highs. The way that I trade, which you guys will see, is if price closes back above the resistance and is clearly going against me, I personally don't let it come anywhere near my hard stop. I get out before that happens, because the trade is invalid. This is my hard stop. I use a lot of hard stops to keep me safe, and a lot of mental stops to actually get me out of a position before that. This ain't D. It might be. Now, D will be on after me as well. I'll stay on with you guys until about 8:30 London time. So we've got the London Open in about 20 minutes, and then we'll stay on for another half an hour, and I'll give you guys a break before D jumps on her show as well. I'll be jumping on from moving forward around 7 a.m. to about 8:30 London time. You know, we do get a lot of pre-London moves, and in normal times, you know, I'd be firing up trades with you guys, but I am going to be extremely cautious here. And, you know, you guys will see me take the wins, you'll see me take the losses, you guys will see me manage my risk, and you guys have followed over from my channel. You guys have seen it all. You know, I've been streaming for about 3 years consistently, and I'm okay with losing. I don't care about losing. Because if I lose a trade today, guess what? I'll still be here tomorrow. Because I'm not over leveraged, I'm not over risking, I'm not forcing trades, I'm following my plan. Risk per day for the 50k. Now, I only trade, and this is the thing, if you guys, maybe want to trade, follow along with me trading gold in the European session, and you maybe trade Nasdaq in the New York session, one contract on gold is very different to one contract on Nasdaq. One contract on gold is actually quite small. However, I usually risk, I'd say on average, anywhere between 100, 150, 200, which, if I just show you guys normal times, because these market moves are absolutely crazy, that's about 15 to 20 ticks on gold. So if we just scroll back to where's a normal London session, where the markets aren't moving, couple of hundred ticks in a session. So if we look here, let's look at this in the London session here. If we measure this, let's say, and this was a fantastic short. Let's say if I shorted this, stops above that high, that's about 30-ish ticks as a worst case scenario. But I like to get out before that, and I'm usually going for 1 to 1.5, 1 to 2 risk rewards, depending on what the markets give me. As you guys will see, the way I trade as well is, I trade a lot into liquidity, and what I mean by that is, I try and identify levels where people are jumping in longs with stops sitting just below, and I'm trying to take advantage of that. So I'm trying to short into where most people are trying to buy, and that is pretty much my strategy. I used to trade, liquidity in the sense that I'd wait for price to come down, grab lows, and then try and go long. But one thing that I've kind of adapted into my strategy is if I can identify levels where price needs to tap into, well, I want to look for a shorting opportunity into that, rather than me sitting on my hands, waiting for price to get down into here, and then trying to get in long, sorry. If I can see a reason to short into that, well, that can just be my trade. So I know some of you guys probably do already trade liquidity or do already trade like me. And when I say liquidity, all I simply mean, and this is just the way that gold loves to move, and this is the reason I love gold so much, is gold loves to have bounces off levels of support, bringing in a lot of buyers. But if it hasn't grabbed the lowest point of the support, gold 9 times out of 10 will come down, liquidate the lows, and then have the real move. So I'm trying to understand levels in the markets where price hasn't grabbed them highs, so I can buy or sell into that. Any of you guys who were on my stream on Friday, this was the level that I gave on gold pre-NFP for price to come into before having this short. So what I was saying on Friday, and you guys can go back and watch it on my channel, is I was saying that I would imagine a lot of people will be shorting gold here with stops just above that high. So you can either wait for the highs to get grabbed and then short out of it. However, if you can identify that this is a good level, and once we find some support, I can get a good entry into that, well, I can trade into the liquidity, and that can just be my trade. And then whatever happens up here, well, who cares? I've made my money on the way up, so I'm not trying to worry too much about, are we going to go short, or are we going to go higher? If I've got my trade into that level, once we're at here, well, guess what? I can sit on my hands, or that can just be my trade for the day. Could get nice, potential nice fake outs here on gold soon. I am still watching this. Like I said to you guys, I am, I do normally trade minis. However, given the ranges are so big, I will be trading micros today. I will be trading micros today. Do I recommend backtesting? Yes, absolutely. Anything you can do to speed up your chart time in the markets is going to help you. I prefer simulation sessions rather than backtesting. Simulations in the sense that you can actually go back and execute positions and play it in real time. Absolutely. Anything that's going to speed up your guys' journey. One of the biggest things that's helped me is just seeing the same things happen over and over and over again. And, a lot of my analysis that I'll do here is just to represent you guys what I'm actually looking at. But eventually, the goal is to be able to get to a point where you can just jump on the charts and you can just see it from that neutral perspective. But that only ever comes from having an extensive amount of time in the markets to see the same things happen over again and actually, see it and learn from it. Like, oh, I've seen this too many times. I'm not going to short here because this is hourly support. I've done that too many times and I've got stopped out. Okay, cool. If this is hourly support, regardless of if this 15 closed bearish, I'm not going to sell here. Now, if this was normal times, guys, as you guys will see as well, I use a lot of buy stops. So if this was normal times, I would have a buy stop breaking above this high here on gold, and I'd be looking to target probably somewhere back up into these regions. I like to use a lot of buy and sell stops rather than market execution. So if I had buy stop above this 15-minute high, that's basically me essentially saying to the markets, okay, if you can flip bullish, my buy order is going to get tagged in and we're going to continue pushing up. However, if the markets keep pushing down and my buy stop doesn't get tagged, well, guess what? I just cancel my order. No trade, no loss. So you guys will see me over the, as we continue to stream here, you guys will see me use a lot of buy and sell stops. That's just personally how I like to enter the markets. It just kind of removes an element of predicting, Say if I put in a, let me just put up here just to be safe. If I put in a buy stop up here on gold, let's say this is happening up here and price does fake out on the 15 and we keep pushing down, well, guess what? I get my buy stop and I just delete it and no loss. However, if I start trying to market execute from here and price does just keep pushing down, holding this resistance, well, then I'm going to get stopped out. And if price doesn't flip bullish, cancel my order. If price does flip bullish, you should get tagged in as it flips bullish and with the volume. So we'll leave this up as just a little forward test just to show you guys. I'm not going to execute this too early on. Not that I don't trade pre-London, I get some fantastic moves in pre-London, but just in terms of demonstration purposes, you could have a buy stop in here. If you start closing back below this level, you could look to manage risk. Maybe you could have a hard stop here. Look how big these stops are as well. This isn't normal on gold, guys. 750 tick stop losses is not normal on gold by any means. That's why I'm, being extremely, extremely cautious. I'll be probably, maybe playing it back up into this resistance, for example. If you were to close back below this level, my real exit would be somewhere around here. So you guys will see me use a lot of buy and sell stops. How many micro contracts are you going to take trade on the 50? It depends how big the stops are. Like I'm measuring this and I'm going, wow, these stops are really, really big. In normal London times, a stop below a previous 15-minute low, 15, 20 ticks maybe. Look how big these are. 50, you're normally, if you put a stop below a 15-minute low on a London session, you're talking 15, 20, 25 ticks max. Whereas these stops here are huge. And that's just because these ranges are so big. So probably, I don't know, man, a lot. I wouldn't even want to risk, I guess if you took one, you're risking like $75. Maybe you trade like, maybe I'd risk like, I normally risk about 150 to 200, so say about maybe 2 or so. Are there any specific window you look for a trade on gold? Or you stalk the whole London session? Honestly, not really. I find that, like if you guys come from a maybe Nasdaq background, the New York Open, Nasdaq's guaranteed volume. Whereas gold, it's not really like that. Does that mean, I sit here religiously and stare at the markets day in and day out? Absolutely not. I utilize a lot of alerts. Alerts are my absolute lifesaver. Is the mic too loud? Am I too close to it? Is it good for you guys? Alerts are my lifesaver. Let's say for example, right now I'm looking to short gold. Well, price is closing above this level, so I'd probably set an alert maybe somewhere down here. And then once my alert goes off, cool, I know gold's moving. Let me fire up the charts. But sometimes gold can move. Even here, pre-London 6:30, you've already had a really nice drop down here on gold. I do find I get a lot of trades pre-London. It also depends on how Asia's moved as well. Sounds perfect. Awesome. Thank you, man. But no, I don't have a specific window where I'm like, nah, gold only moves within the time. Gold's kind of like a different beast when it comes to that. It can move in its own way when it wants. So, to save yourself from actually sitting here watching it 24/7, I'd recommend you guys to set alerts. Like I say, alerts are my absolute lifesaver. We've got about 460 people tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, drop a like for the TopStep channel. Let's build up this London show. If we do fake out back below this level, then we'll see how this Audi's going to open in about 10 minutes. How can we backtest a crashing market? Don't. To be honest, don't. Your job isn't to try and trade a crashing market. Your job is to trade normal market conditions. I'm using this is the TopStepX platform here. That's where I do all my execution. I'm currently copying across 4 TopStep accounts a minute, which I prefer to do. A lot of people say, well, why don't you just trade like 200s? I personally like the 50s because I like just to stick to one contract. Let's see. It's going to be an interesting London Open here, guys. It's going to be a... Let's see how this... Thing is, if we do close back below, I do like sells. However, I would need to see price like break back below the support pretty aggressively. Otherwise, I can't really sell gold here. I don't want to be a seller here on gold just yet. Not yet. We've got London Open. We've got this candle close in about 9 minutes. Yep, absolutely. I'll be here every day. Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday. Obviously, in normal times, I'll be able to actually execute plenty of positions with you guys. Like I say, I'll normally be, taking my normal size trades. I use all my alerts on TradingView personally, which is one thing I do as well, guys. I correlate, which is actually interesting because right now it's looking a bit different. I correlate my futures chart here with the currency chart as well. So I do a lot of my alerts on TradingView. Once my alert goes off on TradingView, cool, fire up TopStep. I look to take the trades. But yeah, I pretty much just trade one contract. Sometimes I maybe trade 2 contracts, but most of the time I'm just sticking to one. I'm sticking to one, but I'm copy trading across 4 accounts, so I guess you could say technically I'm trading 4 contracts, but per account I'm only trading 1 contract. Because 1 contract is enough to allow me to manage my risk, and 1 contract is also enough for me to make fantastic gains. I don't really need to trade anymore. My balance is up 2.6 thousand here on TopStep, which I could be trading 5 contracts. I just don't really feel the need to. I like consistency. You'll get the people that get the big massive jackpot wins and the huge big trades with the 5 contracts, but it's rare to see them people still being around over the next however long. So I'm also focused on consistency. So all you guys here see like 1 to 2 here, 1 contract $300. Like, man, that's fantastic. You get that a couple of times a week, you guys are on the right track. Don't underestimate the power of $100, $200 days because they do add up. They really do. Even here, traded micros, traded 5 micros, which is half a normal lot on gold, which was a loss. So very well managed risk. That was when the markets were getting pretty volatile. If I traded that at normal contracts and taken a loss, I would have kicked myself because it would have been a pretty big loss. Not looking to short gold just yet. I'm just going to wait to see this Audi close. If we start bouncing back high, I prefer the longs. This is what I was mentioning earlier about the buy stop on the flip of this candle. I don't have any orders in as the markets are extremely volatile and I want to wait for this Audi close. But this is a trade that I would be in right now. This is a trade that I like. And the reason I'm not in just yet is because we're that close to the Audi candle that, even if this Audi does close nice and bullish, well, guess what? The next Audi is still going to come down, give me a nice bottom wick before continuing to push higher. And at that point, the move's more confirmed. I don't admit it, but it's definitely going to be a goal. Absolutely. Hopefully I can do it here with you guys as well. But you guys who come from my channel, we do take a lot of trades on stream as well. So hopefully we can do it here together as a journey. I'm on every day now. Yes, I will be. Yep, we'll be on every day. Monday through to Friday. We'll jump from about 7 till about 8:30-ish London time. Some great candles. Yeah, I did like that drawing. That was quite an impressive drawing, wasn't it? That was my, if this Audi closes bullish, next Audi come down for a nice bottom wick before then pushing higher. So that was my attempt at some candle drawings there. It'll leave a nice little wick like this. Art is definitely not my my key skill, that's for sure. That's my attempt at a candle. I think that's alright, actually. I don't think that's too bad. I think that's too bad. So this is a trade that I would be in, guys, in normal times, because you've had that 15-minute fake out. You have price bouncing off an Audi support. There's a high chance you're going to at least re-grab 15-minute highs. So in normal markets, this would be a trade I would be in. However, these are not normal markets, unfortunately. My management point, if I was in this trade, would be once you start breaking back above this level, I can look to manage my risk. travel down Australia for? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Australia's a beautiful place. I'm obviously, as I'm sure you guys can tell from the accent, I'm not from Australia. I just live here. I've lived here for about 2 years, and I love it. It's an absolutely beautiful place. So if I wasn't this trade, guys, I'd just delete it there. As we're not driving and we're coming close to the hourly close, this is where I'd probably be dropping down to the 5 minute, and I'd probably see price stalling, which you can see price stalling. So I'd have stops below this low, which is nice. You came down, grabbed a lot of lows, held support. That was quite a nice little 5 minute close there. However, I would want to see this 5 minute close strong in order for me to actually want to hold this trade. As you start breaking here on the 5 minute, I'd be looking to manage my stops as well, be bringing it up. Didn't think he was. Yeah, I'm not. I don't quite have the Australian accent just yet. I'm from a very small town called Jersey. For you guys who are from the UK, not America, Jersey, not quite. From a very, very small town called Jersey, small island. I moved to Australia to. I speak like an Aussie. Oh no, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't think that's a good thing. It's a beautiful day here as well. The reason I moved to Australia is because it's just beautiful weather, beautiful lifestyle. Good trading times for me in the European and Asian session. So if I was in this trade, guys, as we start breaking high, you're gonna get this hourly close in about 2 minutes. I'd probably be looking to manage risk pretty soon, if not break even. I'm not in this trade, as you guys can see. I'm just drawing up as if we were in it because the markets are pretty irrational. And as soon as you start grabbing these highs, that would be where I would manage risk because there's nothing to say price can't grab these highs and continue pushing lower. So as soon as you start grabbing these highs, that would be where I'd manage my risk. London is about to open in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You've got the currency chart also faking out of 30,025, reflipping back bullish. You're going to get quite a nice hourly closure here. This hourly close could actually confirm the move more. So if I was in this trade, guys, I would absolutely be break even here. 5 minute came down, grabbed a lot of liquidity, held support, broke back higher. This actual entry here would be nice. So if I was in this trade, I'd be managing risk. I wouldn't be targeting this high. I'm not that greedy today. I'm probably playing like maybe back up into these areas, which is still, a very, very, very nice retracement. Even this, what's it? This on this 1 5 minute candle, 37 ticks. Like I said to you guys, 30 ticks here, 40 ticks in this 1 5 minute candle. You take that one contract, $400. That's a fantastic trade. Where in Australia? I'm based in the Gold Coast, man. Based in the Gold Coast. I've lived all around Australia. When I first came here, I moved to Brisbane, and then I lived in the Sunshine Coast, back in Brisbane, and now back down here on the Gold Coast. It's a very, very nice spot. If you guys ever do get the chance, it's a fantastic place to revisit. You wake up to nice, beautiful blue skies every day, good weather, good lifestyle. Depends if you trade New York, it can be a little bit tough. New York for me, with the time change at the minute, starts around 10:30, 11 p.m. Which can be tough, but to me, pros and cons, the lifestyle makes up for it. The lifestyle makes up for it. Noosaville, yes I have, yeah. Noosaville is in, Noosa? Is that the same place? Just up from Sunshine Coast? Yeah, Noosa, yeah, beautiful spot, yeah, I have. Very, very nice spot. That's awesome, man. Beautiful spot. That's the thing, a lot of people who, well, you guys on YouTube, where are you all tuning in from? Where's everyone tuning? You guys all from Europe? Or where's everyone tuning in from? Because I know a lot of people here who do trade on this time zone think that you have to stay up to, 2, 3 a.m. To be able to trade New York session. I never do that. I literally never do that. I only trade Asian and European markets. Sometimes maybe a little bit pre-New York, but not really. Cambodia, South Florida, UK, Canada, Brisbane, nice. New York, oh nice. New York, you guys must be, what times are there? Must be late. Is it late or early? 3 a.m. New York time. New Mexico, nice. Ohio, Canada, awesome. Newcastle, UK, nice. I used to live in Newcastle. I used to live in Newcastle in my UK days. Hong Kong, France, UK, Atlanta, Hollywood. You guys are from all over the world. Amazing. Awesome to see. I hope to see you familiar faces stay on here throughout the but we build up these this London Open show. So we got London Open here, guys. Let's have a look at this hourly close. You just closed with a very, very nice wick projection. Very, very nice wick projection, grabbing previous hourly lows, liquidating these lows here. To me, this looks good to continue pushing up. The only thing I would be wary of buys is you do have resistance right here. But to me, this looks good to continue pushing up. I wish I had a combine, because I'd like to trade a combine today. I'm not really too comfortable trading my fund accounts today here. But this to me looks good. I like this trade. I like buys here. The hourly's closed nice and bullish. The only thing is, this level here, this is the hourly resistance. So you would have to manage your risk here. That's the only thing. If we were in from this 15-minute flip that we spoke about earlier, you'd actually be very comfortable right now. Second you come into these areas, you may even be, looking to take some partials. But this level here is hourly resistance, which is about 30, 50, 52-ish. Fired the chat. Yeah, look at that. Amazing. Big up Wales. You guys are from all over, which is awesome. People tuning from all over the world. You guys are in America. You guys are on the late night grind. It's 5 p.m. here in Australia. It's 8 a.m. in London. 3 a.m. in New York. You guys are on a late night grind. Hopefully, I'll pretend that you guys are up that late just to watch me. We'll pretend you guys will stay up till 3 a.m. just to watch the new show here. Give my ego a little bit of a boost. Let's have a look at some other markets, because Goldie's looking good here, guys. Goldie looks good to continue pushing up. I'm just very, very cautious today. I'm cautious on every market. Someone mentioned Euro. Let's have a look at Euro futures. Someone did mention Euro. You can trade on XFA depending on which market. If you're trading Nasdaq or ES, be very careful. I mean, I wouldn't trade them regardless, to be honest. Have a look at the Euro. Any guys who are new to me, I did come from a currency background. Can I hide these? Can I hide news? How do I hide news? Scale, news. Can you hide news? I'm sure you can. Oh, well, that's fine. We'll leave that pretty pattern there. Yeah, anyone who doesn't know, I did come from a currency background. I came from trading foreign exchange currencies. And, I used to trade about 10 plus pairs. And now I just trade just gold. But for me, it's been a lot easier. But I do have experience trading these currencies. So, if you guys do want to look at some currency markets, feel free to send it over as well. You can see here on the Euro, though, to me,
order fill
into last week's wick. I think this rejection here is a retail trap to bring in a lot of sellers. But to me, this has been a very, very nice run up that I wouldn't want to be selling that. Yeah, it's in the settings, isn't it? It's in the settings somewhere. Markets are a bit, yeah, markets are very volatile, man. Nice to see you too. Wish I shorted my personal account. Yeah, me too. I would be retired for the rest of the year. But yeah, hide news in the settings tab. That's what I thought. Am I missing something? Oh, as in like here? If it is, I'll do after. There's no problem. Oh, cool. I'll do after. So, Euro. Someone else about Euro. Euro looks good to continue pushing up. To me, this rejection is a trap to bring in a lot of early sellers, and that's one thing I want to note to you guys. Same as Nasdaq right now. If one thing you don't want to be doing is calling tops and bottoms. I always say to people, I would rather, and let me just fire up. I'll just fire up Nasdaq for you guys just to show you guys. I've heard a lot of people saying, I don't want to compare. I want to look at Nasdaq. I've heard a lot of people saying, that this has the possibility to be the lows of the markets. And to me, to want to even predict that level is mind-blowing. Like, if you... Look, we're still absolutely... This is crazy. We're still dropping so hard here. If you guys, if I'm going to be wrong in the markets, I want to be wrong following the markets. I don't want to be wrong trying to catch the bottom. Because if I try and go long down here and I get stopped out, not only am I going to lose money, but I'm very likely going to go on tilt. Because I know that's not what I should be doing anyway. I know I shouldn't be trying to call the bottom. So if I get stopped out trying to go short, I'm probably going to go on tilt. Sorry, if I get stopped out trying to go long, I'm probably going to go on tilt. But if I get stopped out trying to go short, that's fine. I'm okay with that. The markets are pushing down. I want to be following the markets. Our job isn't to catch the bottoms. Our job isn't to think that this is going to be the support. And, when the markets are ripping down this much, you start saying to yourself, well, surely we have to pull back at some point. Like, surely, maybe, we've got some support here. Like, surely we're going to find some support. That's not the way you guys want to be thinking. Your job isn't to try and predict the markets. Your job is to wait for price to find support, maybe create a range for a good couple of days. And then maybe if you have reasons, you can look for a good pullback. But coming onto markets after last week closed so bearish, to me, it would be crazy to even start considering short. So, if you're going to be wrong trading, at least be wrong doing the right things. Because if I'm wrong doing something that I know I shouldn't do, that's when the disaster happens. That's when you go on tilt. That's when you start losing money, and that's when you full port your account, and that's when you mentally blow up. Mental capital preservation is absolutely key for you guys. So for me here on, let me just go back to. Let's have a look at Nasdaq, something like the S&P. My job is to simply wait for price to find its feet, pull back a little bit, and then look for short setups. Because I want to be following the markets. I don't want to be the first one who's trying to call the bottoms here. Now, it's not to say that this couldn't be the bottom on Nasdaq or the S&P or any other markets. It's not to say that it couldn't be the bottom. It's more so that it's just my job to not be the one to try and call that. For me personally, I don't care about being right or wrong. I don't care. I don't care about being right or wrong, or me trying to put my opinions on the market, or me saying S&P has to do this day. That's not what's going to make me money. That's not what's going to make me money at all. Same as gold. Sometimes I could jump on gold, and someone could be like, "No, today gold's going to 3,100," and I'm like, maybe. I don't know. That's not my job. If we start breaking back above some levels and gold gives me reason to think that could be correct, guess what? I'm going to execute on it. But it's certainly not my job when, maybe gold's pushing down to all of a sudden, like, nah, gold has to find support. Surely it has to pull back. Because gold's very similar like Nasdaq, where if you try and trade against it, it can give you false signs of support, and it can just keep pushing down. And if you had, removing that ego and that bias and actually just accepted that markets are going down and just simply followed it, you'd have a much easier time. So don't be the one trying to catch the bottom of the markets there, guys. Follow the markets. Be in flow with the markets. Your job isn't to predict the markets. Your job is to simply to react to what's right in front of you. Although I would love gold to continue pushing up today and retest this support. If we start breaking back down below, does that mean I'm going to start buying gold? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because this is, there will be a lot of people who are not only blowing up capital during these times in all markets, but blowing up mentally. These are the times where the markets are really, really going to test you. And if you can survive these times, and even if you guys survived last week, you're doing something right. You're absolutely doing something right. And they're the trades that in the back of your mind, you shouldn't be in it. You know you shouldn't be in them ones. Do you have any psychological tips going full time? What was my experience? Yeah, well, my journey into full time trading was maybe different to most, I would say. When I first went full time trading, I feel like a lot of people these days, I don't want to speak on behalf of everyone, but I feel like a lot of people these days have a lot of unrealistic expectations where, they want to make 10,000, 20,000 every single month. For me, I was like, man, let's say if I make $3,000 in pounds, whatever it is, in my 9-to-5 job. I was like, if I can make a fraction of that doing something I love, not only am I going to be happier, I'm going to be able to actually trade better because I'm going to have a good peace of mind. So when I took the leap into full-time trading, I quit my job, I quit my rental where I was back in the UK, and I just said, you know what, I'm going. And I went to go live in a country where I could live way below my means in order for me to be able to focus on trading. So that's just, obviously not everyone can make that commitment, but that's just the way I took it. I was like, guess what, I don't really care about making 10,000, 20,000 a month. I know that if I become a good trader, that one day that will come, so let me just focus on becoming a good trader. So I was like, cool, if I can just make, 1,000, 2,000 a month, live somewhere in Asia, like I first went to Thailand and, been to Bali, Vietnam, like them countries, I can live way below my means. And, when I'm in that environment, my headspace is so much better. So, I'm not stressed about my job all the time. I'm not trying to force trades because I'm trying to escape this life that I'm living that I don't want to be living. So keep it realistic. It's certainly not easy to go full-time in trading. And one thing I did as well, again, this isn't going to be applicable to everyone, is I just removed all of my outgoings. I removed every single outgoing I didn't need. I massively lived, below my means, when all my friends are maybe you know, getting mortgages, getting the cars, all this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't really care. I know that if I can become good at trading, I know what I can do with this. So I'm happy to, you know, live below my means for a good while. And it made the process a lot easier and a lot better. So don't be so, you know, it's easier with social media, etc. And, you know, you do see the people getting the, you know, the huge big payouts, which is incredible. But just focus on becoming a good trader and the money will follow. Become consistent. Get good at becoming consistent. And, you know, over time, you know, you'll be able to trade bigger size. And before you know it, you look back at the end of the month and go, oh, cool, I'm up this month. I don't look at my performance day by day as well. I look back at the month and go, oh, how did I perform this month? Did I make money this month? Yeah. Did I make money? No. Did I do anything wrong? No, I fit my plan. Cool. That's trading. Just focus on becoming a good trader and the money will follow. Comes a time. My next level to buy gold, if we drop, I will not be buying gold. You can kind of see here, this is why the price action is a little bit tough today. But you can kind of see price came down here on the hourly time frame, liquidated a lot of these lows, held this inverse head and shoulders, and now you're coming back down. So if we start closing back below these areas, I'm not going to be buying gold. I will only be buying gold if we continue to break back above. Which if you drop down to maybe the 15-minute, which we're about to get close soon, if you close bearish, like I said to you guys earlier, I'm not predicting, I'm simply reacting. This is a nice level that I wanted to see hold to continue pushing up. So if we close back below this, I'm not going to be buying gold. If you know, we start breaking back above, cool, then you know, my bias will come in, you have some trend line coming down, we'll look for reaction, cool, then I can buy gold. If we start closing below, again, in normal times, if I had reason to do so, I would just flip the bias and go short. Like I said, I don't really care about being right or wrong. But if we continue to break lower, I'm simply will not be buying gold. And if I was buying gold here, well, I'd be happy and I'll take the loss and wait. Do I trade Bitcoin? I don't trade Bitcoin. However, I do watch Bitcoin. I have held Bitcoin in the past, but I don't have any crypto holdings at the minute. I have no crypto holdings. I did see we had a nice big drop today again, you know, back down at 75s, which is, again, to me, it's healthy. I don't think this is too crazy. Seeing Bitcoin back down at these major levels, you know, like this is, you know, it's very easy to get so glued on a certain bias when you're so, you know, heavy in a position, but like this is nice. This is good. Again, would I start buying Bitcoin now? Well, not really. No, you know, again, this is what comes back to being neutral, like I'm saying to you guys. You can see this level of support and be like, cool, we're bouncing this nicely, but let's not forget, what are we not also doing to the highs? Well, we're not really breaking above. So we can't look at support and go, wow, Bitcoin must go up without looking at the resistance and go, well, Bitcoin could also go down. So although, you know, you did have a nice bounce here, you failed to really close above any highs. So for me, you've had this pretty decent push down. You came back up, held this resistance, and now you're pushing back lower. Where do I think Bitcoin will go? I think where you're at now, 75 to 70,000 is going to be some big levels. Big levels. It's kind of nice to see having a pullback though. I'm not really involved in any crypto at the minute. If we keep dropping low, maybe, you know, I'll consider it, but not so far. Are you trading gold because of the... No, I only ever just trade gold. Gold is, on my TopStep account, say gold is all I execute. You guys see, look at this progress. This is all I ever trade. Gold is all I ever trade. It's just because it moves well in my time zone. And it gives me opportunities, you know, most days, if not every day. Like I say, although I say it gives me opportunities every day, does that mean, you know, I'm going to be trading every day? Absolutely not. But it moves very well in my sessions, which is Asia, London, and a little bit of pre-New York sometimes. Like even here, you know, although I'm not massively executing this because it's just so big today, it's like, you know, you get these nice little moves here. But for me, there wasn't really any reason to short this just yet. However, remember guys, what did I say? I did say that this was the level that when you start, you know, if you are buying from here, as soon as you grab these highs, you have to manage your risk. Remember I said that to you guys before it happened? You guys can go back and watch it. So we were talking about this, for price to continue pushing up into these areas. However, I did say once you get into these highs, this is where price could come up, liquidate highs and push down. Therefore, if I am in the longs, I have to manage my risk here. Regardless of what I want to happen, I can't ignore that this is a very nice liquidity level, and we could easily liquidate these highs before pushing lower. So although I would, you know, if I wasn't these buys, I would love price to continue pushing up. What I would love to happen and what are going to happen are two very different things. The second you start hitting these highs and failing to close above, cool, neutral, that's my exit, take the break even, happy days. So you guys can go back and watch that as well. I spoke about, you know, taking the 15 flip from these regions, and this would have to be a level to manage. And that's how I approach my trades. In normal times, you guys would see me actually taking the buys, going to break even, move my stop stuff, etc. I'm just not super comfortable trading today. And you know, this is an opportunity for you guys to get to know me as well, me to get to know you guys, and build upon these London streams. But you know, even though we're not executing,
order filled.
Planning moving to Thailand mid-year for that reason seems like a no-brainer once you start finding some consistent profits. Yeah, amazing, Max. That's awesome, man. Take your time. You know, don't. When I first, you know, my first like month of full-time trading, you know, I proved myself that I could actually be consistent first. You know, got the fund accounts, got the payouts. I knew I could do it. Then I was like, okay, cool, I've got something here. It's very easy.
Down about 200.
The first, you know.
So now I'm down to 7.
To a couple of months, you're like.
It's 12:30 my time, is about 11:30, but I want to get some sleep so I can get back in the...
From the perspective of, I don't have to make money today, as nice as it would be, I don't have to take a trade today, I don't want to put any pressure on myself of like, no, I have to make money today, this is my only income.
Get back in the pit
and take a leap, man. I always said to myself, you
know, later.
If I take a leap at full-time trading,
very happy that I was able to deal with this.
If you don't try, you don't know. The worst that can happen, you know, hopefully is, for me it was, I go back home and do what I was doing anyway. I'm okay with that. But I have to try. If I don't try, I'll never know. Get some buys stepping in here on gold, guys. Yeah, take your time, man, and just don't.
6 is workable.
Give yourself a pat on the back for actually
very happy about that.
Full-time trading, given time and try. You can live way below your means there, man. You can.
We're starting here.
Like Thailand, you know, you can maybe make 1,000-2,000 a month and be living a good life.
Take it.
Not only that is you'll actually be in a good headspace.
Workable, manageable.
Because you're happier, you're in a place you want to be. You're not doing something you hate, and that really does impact.
I worked it out. I saw.
Am I bullish? Am I bearish
the weakness
for the US dollar? Let me just have a look
let
at
me
my trading
change
chart.
it to 15. I saw
It does impact gold, but they're not highly correlated. Now, next time for you guys, I will set up OBS so I can share my trading charts as well. If you guys are on your trading charts,
I really thought it was going to go.
I actually had drawn up on DXY on the daily time frame a head and shoulders from 107.5, and the simplest way of to answer your question, the US dollar is bearish. I'm not bearish on the US dollar. I'm not anything. The markets are extremely bearish on the US dollar. The US dollar is very, very bearish. Very, very bearish. Doesn't matter what I see. The markets are very bearish. And that's why you're kind of seeing the euro push
and
higher.
He didn't. He ended up going.
You're seeing the euro push high because the US dollar is continuing to get weaker.
Down.
And that's why I said, I believe this rejection. So if you guys do look at the DXY, euro USD is basically just the inverse. To me, any of you guys who do trade currencies, again, this is another strategy that I use, which you guys will see as well. I use a lot of trendline liquidity. So the way I trade trend lines is I try and understand what are most people trying to do and how can I take advantage of it. Well, for me personally, the way that I trade trend lines is, if you Google trend line, the trend line will say to you, okay, wait for 3 touches and then try and short here and put your stop loss just above these highs. To me, that's not how the markets move anymore, unfortunately. So if I was trading the euro, I would be looking for price to continue pushing up into some larger areas, all the way up here. I believe a lot of people will be trying to short these markets, trying to call the tops. For me, any pullbacks here is buying opportunities. I want to be following markets. To me, this trend line is a retail trap. So I'll be watching some levels up here. Hey, Aaron, good to see you on the first stream on TopStepX. Thank you, D. Appreciate tuning in. I'll be still hanging up to your stream after
so
as well.
Far,
good to be jumping on here.
How I have
I would have loved to have
been
taken some trades this morning.
Fighting back, handling this.
I don't want to, I've been
super
proud of my equity growth here. That I don't want to ruin it by doing anything stupid.
Started really right here.
Yeah, that's why sometimes actually, which I'll do moving forward, guys, is I'll actually fire up a TopStep combine. In times like this, where the market's so extremely volatile, I don't want to trade my combine, fire up a combine, and maybe take some combine trades.
He didn't.
But when the market's good, you guys can execute every day.
Working little by little. I mean, I was listening to, I think it was Isaac.
My levels on gold.
No, green is green.
This is my liquidity level for the day, guys. You watch that level up there. You do have a trend line coming down here as well. As I mentioned on the euro, the way that gold likes to move, I would imagine a lot of people are probably trying to get short here right now. And, maybe risking somewhere above here.
It's been
now,
a
does
while.
That mean I'm going to start buying? I have to see fake out buy opportunities, and that's very simple.
All I want to
see is fake out buys.
It's been a pleasure, honestly. I cry.
Been bearish, bullish, bearish.
Yes, I cry, man.
And fake out buys
this is too much, man.
They're sometimes actually some of my best setups recently.
Especially when you were out here and
fake out buys. Here, you broke below, break back above. Nice, couldn't hold the resistance, came lower. So same again. Fake out buys back above this level. The price come up into here, and here to me looks nice. You're short? No, you're not. And that's the thing. This is just again. It's not to say I'm right and you're wrong.
People are firing to
this. There's no right or wrong
so.
answer trading with you guys. It's just that's just my outlook right now. The only reason I'm slightly hesitant on shorting gold right now is because I feel like I'm just shorting to a massive level of support, which is like.
No, I don't know which one.
I feel like if I'm selling gold right now, I'm almost like at any point we can tap into here and this trade can go against me. Like my range to the downside isn't big enough for me to short. Again, that's not me saying price can't go down. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer in trading. But my outlook is a lot of people will probably trying to short this trend line. And that's when, that's how I take advantage of trend line. You might push down to here and then come up and then bounce, and then that's when I'll be looking for something like that.
It's a much better one.
But there's no right or wrong answer. There's not. Just because I believe gold's going to have a little squeeze higher, that doesn't mean it has to happen. We stay very neutral. Technically, you're trading what's right in front of you. You've closed back below level, you're holding it. That's good. That's trading what you see. If you start closing back above though, just keep that in the back of your mind. Aaron, great show so far. Thank you, Leon. On your gold trades, do you prefer keeping your trades overnight or no? I do take swings on my personal account. On my, all this growth that you guys have seen is, I don't hold overnight. I maybe hold on average. It depends. I like to day trade and scalp on my TopStep accounts. Sometimes I can swing on my personal. I do a bit of both. But
funny face
talking about the TopStep accounts,
how we do.
I like to be in and out with 30 minutes to an hour, sometimes less. The trades that, you guys who are tuning in from my channel, the trades that we take, I'd say 15, 20 minutes maybe. It honestly depends on the markets. With how gold has been recently, yeah, I would have loved to just bought at the start of the year and just sat on the beach for the past 3 months. But unfortunately, it hasn't been that easy. I'm copy trading for at the moment. More personally, I can get some swings sometimes. Yeah, I copy trade 4 accounts at the minute. I said, guys, why do I trade 4 50k accounts as opposed to just trading one?
So let's stick to the
150s?
plan. The plan was
to stick to just one contract.
Get as close to green as possible.
Plus contracts.
We're gonna
stop
the recording and go from there.
I have one position and I'm out of my one position. It's just me personally. Some people are really good at scaling in and out of positions. I'm just not. I know I'm not. I'm okay with that. But this is nice, guys. You kind of see we're coming down, we're liquidating these lows, we're holding the support again. If this 30 can flip bullish, you've got 5 minutes, there's a high chance you could continue driving up. Very simple price action, just playing from one range to the next. But again, these ranges are not normal on gold, guys. These ranges are, massive, very, very, very big. So be careful. Reduce your risk. If you like I said to you guys, if you're used to trading, if you're used to trading a 100 tick range, but gold currently in a 500 tick range because the market is so volatile, accept that and reduce the risk. You can't trade the same contract size that you would normally trade in normal markets. Yeah, you can copy a total of 5 Express Fund accounts on TopStep. I have another fund account in the background that I don't like to copy over just in case anything crazy happens, which can happen at any point. I always have one ready to go.
One shows the...
Yeah, gold's been moving crazy. Yeah, it's been moving crazy, but like I said, it's nice to see gold pushing down because when we're peaking all-time highs, it's very hard for me to trade up here. Very, very hard for me to trade up here. So now that we're pushing down, great. Now when I can take trades, I actually have